I'm Julie Herman of Jaybird Quilt and Lazy Girl Designs, and welcome to the Gravity Block of the Month. We are now in month 9. We have made it to month 9, and we are going to make our final 2 blocks before we get started on our background. So month 9 is called Voyage. Seemed fitting that we've gone on a long voyage, so Voyage it is. And this month, just like the others, we have 2 blocks. We have an orange and we have a blue. You can see them here in the finished quilt. There is the orange one, there is the blue one. And here we are going to be cutting a hexagon from our Hex N More, some triangles, and then some diamonds from our Super Sidekick. So we're going to be combining everything we have learned so far this year into making our voyage blocks. So let's get started. Working from our gravity pattern books, we're on page 30 to make block 9 and following the cutting directions found on pages 6, 8, and 9. So as I just mentioned, we are in month 9 and working on voyage. And I try to make the blocks get a little bit more difficult as we go along and you build your skill set. But I also know that sometimes it can be a little bit of burnout towards the end of a block of the month. So I didn't want to make this block too complicated for you. You'll notice it's kind of an homage back to month 1, which was all diamonds, and then has the hexagon and the triangles that we have had 2 other times. So it's kind of a quick little mishmash of those. As we have done every other month, we're going to have our 10-inch squares. We're going to turn those squares into cut pieces and then turn those pieces into blocks. So as I just mentioned, we have diamonds this month, we have triangles, and we have a hexagon. So we're going to be using both rulers. So the first thing that I want to do is cut my hexagon. I know I've shown you this a few times, but I will show it to you quickly again. You can always fast forward if I'm ever showing you something that you already know how to do, but just in case there's somebody watching who needs a refresher. So I'm going to trim it off because all I need from this one fabric is my 6.5-inch hexagon, so I can afford to do that little quick trim. So now that I have my 6.5-inch strip, I'm going to put my Hex N More, and I have my 6.5-inch hexagon right up here. All my hexagons nest into this corner. And I'm going to line up my solid line up here and my solid line down here. Rotate it around and finish the cut. And then, oops. Didn't cut far enough. I don't want to waste the fabric, but sometimes I didn't cut far enough. That's okay, that'll be in the seam allowance. So now I have this, and I can go ahead and move my A onto here to keep myself organized. And I think I forgot to mention the pillow recently, but if you are working on the stellar pillow as well, this is a perfect size scrap. And instead of even bothering to trim this down to 2.5 inches, this is just a situation where I will just stick my ruler, my 2.5-inch line on here, and just go ahead and cut my piece and add it to my stack for my pillow. So cut and cut, and then you never want to cut towards yourself. It's just not that safe. So quick little rotate, and I'll be able to finish this triangle. And I've been cutting them as I've been going, which means at the end of this month, I will have all of my triangles ready to go for my stellar pillow. So I'll keep that over there. The next thing that we need to do is diamonds. So for diamonds, we are going to use the Super Sidekick ruler. And we need some diamonds from F. And I do have enough fabric to trim one edge, but I don't have enough fabric to trim these edges because I do need to get 2 diamonds out of a strip. So since this is, I'm going to double check it. Just want to make sure this is just a hair over 10, which is perfect. Definitely don't want it under. Trim, give that little haircut. And then I'm going to cut 2 3.5-inch strips. And all of your measurements for what you need from each of the pieces, all on page 30 of your book. So I'm going to get my Super Sidekick, and I'm going to be lining up my 3.5-inch diamond line and the base of my ruler. And this is where the diagram on page 6 might be helpful again, because we want to make sure that we leave enough room to cut 2 diamonds. So I'm going to take my ruler all the way over until it's just about off, because I am going to also cut the point off and make it blunt. So I can get it just off the edge, and that way I know I'll have enough fabric left for the second one. I'm just going to cut. Go ahead and rotate that around. And then I'm going to take my Super Sidekick and line up my 3.5-inch diamond around and the base of my ruler down here. Please take time to double check everything. Cut. And then I can slide my ruler down, realign, and you see I have just enough fabric there. And cut. Then the last thing that I want to do is I want to blunt my corners. And that is done by aligning the diamond underneath the ruler along the triangle line, and then the edge of the ruler here along my cut piece, and trim. And I'll just repeat that on all of the corners, because that will help me when I go to do my alignment with sewing my block together. So once I have that all done, I will get my tag and put my tag back on here to keep everything nice and organized. And then the last thing that we need to cut is triangles. Let's find our D fabric. And we can cut triangles from the Hex N More or from the Super Sidekick. I think most recently I showed you the Hex N More, so I will show you the Super Sidekick today. I'm going to trim that off. Double check my pattern. And it says I need 3.5-inch strip. Always better to check and double check. So if I was going to use the Hex N More, I would take my ruler, my 3.5-inch line, line it up, cut, cut. But I want to also show you the other option, which is our Super Sidekick, and take our 3.5-inch line. This will feel very similar to our diamonds, and I don't need to worry about going as close to the edge though, because we have plenty of fabric here. Line up my 3.5-inch line, base of my ruler, and cut. And then with our diamonds, we just went ahead and rotated it. But with our triangles, what we want to do is we want to flip it. So with our diamonds, we had our fabric pointing down and to the left. With our triangles, we want it pointing up and to the left. So that's what that'll look like for our triangles, is up and to the left, and then underneath our 3.5-inch triangle shape. Just line that up, double check, make sure it doesn't slide when you're getting ready, and cut. And then to do my next one, I'm going to go ahead and flip it. So take it from this, flip it up, line it up like this, and cut. Now I can take my triangles and go ahead and add my D piece to keep them nice and organized. And how I showed you a quick little hack for cutting this triangle without cutting the 2.5-inch strip from our hexagon. Similar thing can happen here for your 2.5-inch triangle. Again, flip it so it's pointed up, up, up. Slide your ruler over. And even though this is a 3.5-inch strip, if we line up our 2.5-inch line on the top, we will get a 2.5-inch triangle. And then just cut here so I'll get my nice blunt point, and there we go. I'm going to continue to cut all of the diamonds that I need and my triangles for my stellar pillow, and then I'll do all my cutting in blue, and then I'll be back here to work on piecing the block. Thanks for watching. If this video was helpful for you, be sure to like it, leave a comment below, and subscribe to the channel. Show us your progress on your gravity blocks in our Facebook group. We'd love to see how you're coming along with your quilt. The link to the Facebook group is below.
I'll be back here in the next video to show you how to piece block 9.